Hello, everyone. So there's this theory in psychology, right, that laughter is awesome. Anybody know why it's awesome? So laughter makes you happy. It actually releases dopamine in your brain, and that's a great chemical because it makes you feel good. So good that there's actually laughter therapy sessions. Have anyone heard of laughter therapy? Yes, 1, 2. So the rest of you, I'll teach you real quick. You actually get in a room full of strangers, much like this one, and you lock eyes with people, and then you start laughing hysterically at each other. It sounds really strange, but the more you do it, it actually makes you happy. It's been shown to release that chemical. Super easy to do. It's free, right? You can go to a bar, right? And just nail it. A lot of fun. So we'll actually talk to Mike after your 4th drink outside. We'll be doing a free session, right? So who in here likes to laugh? Anybody, anybody, anybody? Great. Almost all of you raise your hands. That's fantastic. For those of you that didn't, there is that free therapy session outside in a couple of minutes. So if you raise your hand, you're actually my target market. So we're going to do a little experiment. I have a product for you. It's going to make you laugh. It's a joke. Who wants to hear it? All right, fantastic. So I will tell you that joke outside at the end of this presentation at my booth. All you have to do is stop by, okay? We'll see why all this makes sense, hopefully in a couple slides. If I do my job right, everyone will understand. If not, there's always free drinks outside. So first things first, a little bit about Jarbux. So Jarbux is a micro savings application. It technically falls in the fintech product sector. And our whole goal with this was really looking at the millennial population and what do we want to do here. And we wanted to create a micro savings product that was engaging to use, that was fun, and actually caused people to want to interact with their wealth and interact with their savings really on what's called a DAU basis. Anybody familiar with some of these terms? In the industry, DAU means daily active use. A lot of these products that are out there today, they're like set it and forget it mentalities. And we've seen these things be out there for a while. It's been really like a relative lack of innovation in this space aside from the automation of it. And we looked at that as a problem and an opportunity. We've seen these savings rates in America, personal savings, kind of flatlined, right? People that don't have over $1,000 in their savings accounts, somewhere around the 60% mark in America. So definitely a challenge that we think is worth addressing in an innovative way. So basically, in short, we believe that encouraging everyone to save money will ultimately get them to win at life. Is there a way to get it up here? Oh. I'm going to keep going while you guys figure it out. So how do we create value? Really 3 things that we're doing. We want to gamify the savings experience and reward users for positive financial decisions. We do that through these kind of integrations of things that people are very familiar with. So an e-commerce integration and a charity integration. Why? E-commerce is a huge growing category. Most of it's done on mobile. A lot of that's done with the 18 to 34-year-old demographic. And charity integrations, you've all heard the stereotype about millennials. We all want to save the world. So we figured that was a good thing to latch onto and integrate within the product. So the whole Jarbux experience, super, super simple. We focused a lot on user interface, user experience design, and what makes good products, and how do you deliver information, deliver choices to people in a non-confusing way. So if you're familiar with micro savings products, the way these things work is you sync up your purchasing card to the savings account. As you make purchases, which is in your everyday life, you make purchases, you get the transactions to feed in, and then you get an action. Our action, again, super simple. You can save a little, which would be the spare change roundup, or you can save a lot, whole dollar amount. You can pick, we default to $1. So as you do this and you save a lot, you earn these things called gems. And gems really become your kind of in-game currency that you can use throughout the rest of the application. So to gamify the whole thing, we have these savings balances that create levels within the game. People are probably familiar with this. If you play video games or anything like that, you can earn status in the game. You can increase your levels. You do that by saving more money, and then it unlocks additional features and benefits within the application. So talking about those integrations. So the market, market, this is really where the rewards come in. And we'll get into the psychology of the rewards and why that all makes sense. But the market is where you can use those gems. The more you earn, the more you can go into the market, the more you can bid. Why do you want to bid? Because if you're the highest bidder, you can win that product for free. Thank you. So if you don't win, hey, you have some pain, some loss, I didn't win, that stinks, I feel bad. But we get all that data in terms of who did bid and who likes to win that product. And then depending on the volume of those users, we can actually drive a volume-based discount through. So that's how we help you win as well. And then the giving integration. So again, a lot of this is about put on your own oxygen mask first. For anyone who's ever flown, I'm sure that's all of you in here. They always say do that before you put it on the person next to you and help them out. So same thing with this game and the whole leveling technology is we want to create the dynamic where after you've saved a certain level, you get the option, you unlock to be able to go out and do these seamless donations out to different charities around the world. We did a partnership with Global Giving. We're good at tech. Global Giving is phenomenal at vetting charities and figuring out who's really good out there in the world. That's not our core competency, so we partnered up. And then, again, we incentivize you to get that done. Again, this is FXD. I don't want to get into a whole spiel about the product. I only wanted to spend maybe 3 to 5 minutes on that. This is all about the design ethos, how we made certain decisions, what we thought about. I'll touch on 2 elements of that. It's the psychology element behind prize-linked savings accounts, and then it's also a thing we call habit-forming design. So again, background on prize-linked savings account, PLSAs, also called no-loss lotteries. If anybody familiar with those, quick raise of hand just so I got it. So very quickly what they are is you save money in a savings account, and because you did that, you get the chance to win a prize. It's a no-loss lottery, right? You're buying the lottery ticket. The lottery ticket is the fact that you just save money to yourself. These were used all over the world, lots of different countries. It just got legalized in 2014, so not too long ago, with the American Savings Promotion Act. And that was really designed to make this concept of no-loss lotteries and PLSAs, again, brought out to the American citizens. Why? The data on that is a 40% higher savings rate versus conventional savings vehicles, and an 11% spillover into the community through word of mouth. So people get in them, they want to tell their friends, their neighbors, hey, this is a great thing. So we wanted to build on that, and we designed based on those psychology principles, and we saw that as a big opportunity to help some of these target market demographics that we're after adopt a savings product. So this is the Hook canvas. Anybody ever read the book Hooked by Nir Eyal? Great. So a few hands. You guys keep me honest. I'll do my best to do this justice. For those of you that haven't, it's a phenomenal book. I definitely recommend reading it. It really talks about just this concept, right? Habit-forming design. It looks at successful products that have been out there in the digital space, like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and it talks about what made those things succeed and create habits for their users that makes them want to keep coming back and makes it hard for them to want to leave. So you guys remember I did the whole joke thing, right? That was the beginning not too long ago. So what I did there was give you a trigger, right? I gave you some information. I told you about this great joke, and then I told you how to get it, right? You have to go outside and you have to talk to me in about 5 minutes. So then we have an action. What's the simplest way for you to get to that product? You literally walk 20 feet and you talk to me, right? Super simple. Most of you can do that. If not, I'll walk with you. We'll get it done. From a variable reward standpoint, so is this reward fulfilling, but leave you wanting more? So we're going to see, right? It's a variable reward. You don't know if the joke's going to be good or not. We hope it will. If it stinks, we learn and we iterate, right? That's kind of how this process works. And from an investment standpoint, the bit of work that gets done, so this is where you invest your time and energy. So you come out there, you make the effort to walk the 20 feet, you talk to me, hopefully we hit it off, the joke's great, we establish a connection, you want to talk to me more, we connect on LinkedIn, and we see this whole thing flourish, right? There's the social connection, makes you want to come back, hopefully hear more jokes, and again, we just continue to hit it off. So who does this super, super well? Right? I'm not going to look at a financial product. I'm going to look at something that pretty much everybody has heard of, I hope. Instagram, anybody use it, have it on their phones. A lot more than know about no-loss lotteries, awesome. So let's just kind of walk through the model, right? So they start And a lot of these things typically always start with the external trigger. The more they cycle you through the process of the hook model, the more they try and get you to move to the internal trigger so you just do it on your own. So from an external standpoint, you first start using Instagram. You get notifications through your existing social media. You get notifications, your badge icon notifications. Anybody have those little app icons where the little red circle comes up with the number? Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about? Every time I see that, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go clear that out. I gotta see what that is, right? I wanna go check that out. So much so that I was doing it too much and I had to turn it off for some, my wife's like, why are you going on LinkedIn? I'm like, I got 10 people, I gotta accept, right? So they trigger you to go in and use the application. Then what's the little bit of work they want you to do? Add an image, check out other images from your friends, from different kind of advertisers, product purveyors, like them, come back, see who likes your stuff. Again, very, very simple. Try and just create that kind of habit-forming action. The reward. So you get new friends, you get followers, people like your images, that makes you feel good. At a slightly deeper level, you can start to solve for some boredom, right? You go on there, you check it when you have a down moment, when you're out there at coffee and no one's looking at you to talk to you, so you go to your phone. These things happen, right? And a lot of times we go to those social channels to try and see, kind of who's out there wanting to connect with us. From an investment standpoint, and this one's really, really important. It's one of the biggest things that I kind of latch onto. So there's time spent on the application. Yes, there's followers, but one of the biggest hooks for Instagram is, I'm sure you guys that have used it, you've posted more than one picture. You've probably posted them over time. Your family and friends have posted them over time. And now you have a collection of memories, right? And Instagram makes it hard for you to import, right, that entire collection of memories somewhere else. So now they've got you, and you don't want to give up your memories, so you want to keep them. I want to keep them on Instagram. It's hard for me to switch. So that's why some of these entrants that kind of come in and compete against Instagram, the market behemoth, they're going to have a really hard time because you've already established this loop that you want to stay connected into, and they've made it hard for you, quote unquote, painful to switch, right? So we took a lot of that into account as we designed our product, right? We studied this, it really kind of resonated with us, and we said, how do we actually kind of leverage this in our design? So, applying this to Jarbux and our UX UI design principles, we looked at the external trigger. And again, that's where we start, and then it kind of, if you do it well, it cycles back to internal triggers. So very simply, you sign up, you connect your account, it establishes your savings account within the product. You buy something, pretty much somebody buys something every single day. That's the consumer purchase that feeds in. Again, you get the little notification, whether it's a banner, text alert, the little number in the corner that we talked about. There's your alert. That's your external trigger. So what do we want you to do? Again, it's super simple. Open it up, choose a little or a lot. That way you earn your points. You earn your points, you go bid them. That way you can win cool stuff for free. And then as you've bid on multiple things, you want to go out and check out your different auctions to see where you stand. So again, the easiest thing there is open and pick, right? Little or a lot. So easy decision, most people understand that. Varying literacy levels in the country, a little or a lot, pretty much everybody knows what that means. From a reward standpoint, so again, some of these are a little bit more kind of ideology, right? So empowerment, right? So I've made a conscious decision to interact with my wealth and my transactions, and I've made a choice to save, right? So now I feel like I've actually done something. An application or AI engine or robot didn't do it for me. I've made the decision, I've jumped in. Altruism, we talked about that giving component. Again, altruism, there's proof in data and research that it makes you feel happier. It feels good to give back. Again, boredom gone, right? I'm interacting with these transactions, I'm saving money, I get to go look at what's in the market that I can win, and I go out and I bid these points that I've won for saving. And then bragging rights, right? This whole thing around pinball theory. People like to win, right? So we're looking at people that are competitive, that like to, kind of go out and bid against different users and then win these different prizes. So as we think about investment, the whole thing for us was it's really challenging to get people to come back and use your product, right? There's 26% of all apps are ditched basically after the first use. They're open once, they're looked at, and then they're out of there. So from an investment standpoint, we said, how do we get people to stay engaged? a couple of things, right? Again, it's a game, there's levels of your savings. So as you grow your savings, you maintain these levels. As your savings decrease, you start to drop back and you lose your status within the game. Your points balancing, and the more points you have, the more you've said, I've saved, I've earned these points, and then I've achieved certain levels, and I can use those points again in that loop of going out and trying to win those really cool prizes. And then again, status maintenance, I talked about that, the levels, you don't want to go down. We want to make sure you keep that money. You want that money to be sticky from a deposit standpoint. So, that whole thing taken into account, as we were designing the product, again, this comes out of the Hooked Matrix as well, but I bring it to people's attention because not everybody's read that book, right? It was published in 2013, you're looking at over 5 years ago now. So there's this thing that they call the manipulation matrix. And manipulation, if I tell you you're a manipulator outside, you're probably gonna give me like get out of here. So it has a negative connotation, but at its core, I think everything that we do as designers, right, we try and get users to form these habit-forming designs, to fundamentally change their behavior, right? That's our goal. Specifically and particularly with FXD, right? We're trying to motivate people to change their existing incumbent behaviors to improve their financial well-being. So, very quick definition, right? Manipulate, it's handle or control a tool in a skillful manner. So you kind of parlay that back into what we're all doing here. Your product is your tool. And you have to think about how do you use that product wisely to be able to get people to do what you want them to do. So a couple different kind of elements within that manipulation matrix. This isn't really to say this product's going to succeed or this one's moral and these guys stink. It's more just a framework for thought and evaluation, right? So they say the best place to be is up here as a facilitator. That means you've made something that you would actually use yourself. So if you would use it yourself, in theory, you're a user of your product. You understand what it means to be in those shoes. You understand who your user is, what motivates them, what the psychology is, and then you believe that you're launching a product that's materially going to improve their life. So that's the best place to be. The other places on the matrix, again, entertainer, peddler, a little bit of a negative connotation there, but it really just means that you're not using it, but you still think it will actually help people do well. The place you don't really want to be is a dealer. So that's something that you would not use, and it doesn't improve the user's life. So one of the good examples of this is the used car salesman, right? I've got this great car. I know it doesn't run, but I got to hit my sales quota. Here you go. You go to drive away. It doesn't have an engine, right? Oh my gosh. But I'm a dealer, right? I made it happen. And that's typically what dealers are motivated by. It's just making a profit, right? It's making a buck. But making a buck isn't always good for users. So taking this into account, really final thoughts from us, right? At Jarbux, what we learned, again, studying all this stuff and trying to work it into very simple design, simple framework, and really that your knowledge of these things is your power, right? Typical consumers in this retail marketplace, they talk about the literacy levels across the United States, and that's typically at a 6th grade level. So that's why people say finance is complicated, right? There's a lot to understand, there's lots of fine print. So I think we have to be cognizant of that and then take that knowledge and try and create really simple interfaces for people to interact with to be able to achieve their goals. So again, we have the knowledge of that. Not everyone has that knowledge as designers and product owners and product makers. But when you do, I think you have the ability to say, I'm going to thoughtfully design a product. I'm going to thoughtfully take into account my users' needs. I'm going to thoughtfully create this product to help meet those needs, right? So again, for us at Jarbux, funny story, we actually started out as a business in 2014. My co-founders were batting these ideas around. I was at J&J, and he was at PwC. And we're trying to figure out, we know we want to do startups. We know we want to live that entrepreneurial life. So what are we going to do? So we said, we're going to gamify the consumer purchase transaction. Awesome. How do you make that make money? You can do a payout ratio. You're going to make a gambling application, right? And so as soon as those transactions feed in, you can bet on them, and you can win something for free. Great. Really good business model. However, we didn't feel good at all, right? We go to sleep at night and we're like, man, this is a terrible idea. So then we said, all right, well, how do you pivot this? How do you take this concept and this psychology of winning and the stuff we knew about PLSAs, the linked savings accounts, and how do we turn that into a product that still gamifies consumer purchases. And that's where it came back to, well, let's create a savings application, right? And that's why we landed where we landed. And again, for us, it was all about like that feeling, right? At the end of the day, it's about how do you feel about what you're making. You know, if that makes you feel good, and if you'd actually use it yourself, then I'd say you're on a road where you want to keep going down. If it's the opposite, I think you have to pause and you have to look at yourself, look at your product, and look your team in the eye and say, is this really where we want to go? So that's kind of the evaluation matrix that we went through. So 3, 2, 1. Awesome. So perfect timing on that. So I will now take questions.
Great. So time for just one question here, Andrew. I'll go with the top rated one. Have you found Jarbux also increases spending along with savings? And what are the implications of that?
Yeah, for sure. So it's a challenge that we thought a lot about. And I think it's why we design things the way we design them, right? So we wanted to communicate to people. Again, you're not going to stop mobile e-commerce, right? You're not going to stop it. It's a consumerism culture in America. What we wanted to do was inject this logic to people of save first, right? Pay yourself first before you go out and want to think about those products. The second thing is the way we've designed the marketplaces with those bidding points. So a lot of e-commerce happens somewhat spontaneously, right? You go out, you're looking on Amazon, you want to buy one thing, they tell you something's better, 5-star review. And here you are, you're buying something you never thought you were going to buy, and then also you bought everything else everybody else bought with it, right? So there's somewhat of an impulse buying type of thing going on. We use these bidding points to create intentionality within the market. So again, you have a finite number of points that you've earned through putting work into the platform. Now go out there and choose what you really actually want, and then go try and win it, right? So we tried to create that sense of, hey, save money, hey, think intentionally about where we want to focus our buying decisions, and then take it from there.
Thank you very much.